signs to identify if a child is depressed. Okay, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give you solutions so we can change that. So the child depressed won't end up a teenager suicidal, or won't end up an adult depressed, right? So before we start this, show reel. I want you to understand, very, very important, that a child depression is not the fault of any parent. Okay, so we are ignoring this child depression all the time because we think that, oh my God, it must be my fault as a parent the child is depressed. No. Okay, nevertheless, we have to use these signs to make sure the child comes out of depression there and it doesn't escalate later on. There are 3 signs easily identifiable if a child is depressed. Okay, and I will make the difference between how a child looks like sad and how a child looks like depressed. Okay, I was one of those children who was depressed and ended up to be suicidal when I was 19, and also ended up to be in depression until the age of 38 for 27 years of my life. And I understand these signs now, looking backwards, very, very different. A major problem we have is that we ignore child depression. We think, oh, it's just sadness, that's okay because the parent is very, very busy with their life and providing for the child. And then we end up with cases like, oh my God, the child is suicidal, is a depressed adult, what are we going to do now? And I will show you exactly how easy it is to change child depression compared to adult depression, which is very harder to change. Okay. I don't know if you guys, saw these kids sometimes that are isolated or sad. And this doesn't happen only because, they're sad only for 5 minutes or for a day, okay? That happens all of the time, right? So you saw these kids that are just jumping up and down with mommy and daddy, right? And the parent is like, stay still, right? Just what are you doing? But they're super, super happy. They have so much energy. They want to express themselves, right? And then you saw the other times those kids that are just like this all the time. And if you have noticed, the parent is in the same way, just like this all the time, and rarely happy. So what the child does is imitating that parent behavior, right? So the first sign to identify a child, if it's just sad or depressed, is actually to understand that a child sad will be sad because of a reason, right? Let's say the dog ran away, or the toy broke, or something like that. And the child depressed will be sad all of the time. And it would rarely be happy when they forget, when there are other kids around, when somebody gets them out of their circle, right? And they forget about it. And then rarely they are happy, okay? This is why it's very, very important you identify this point. Now, even if this happens, a lot of times this escalates to the other sign that I'm going to tell you about. And that is when the child becomes irritable. Okay, so you saw these children in the grocery stores all the time that are throwing tantrums. I want this, and I'm not gonna get this, my God, right? For a candy or for a toy or for something like that, right? So even look, it's super funny, right, when you see it from the outside, but it's not super funny if you are the parent. Now there are 3 types of parents out there, and rarely you see number 3 type that's going to know how to deal with it. So the first one that's going to deal with it is like, get out of here, or I'm going to beat you up, and they're dragging the kid all the way from the grocery store, pick him up from here, and just get out, right? Because they are ashamed of everybody just looking at them, right? And it's just so much pressure, right, from everybody looking that the kid throws a tantrum, right? We have the other parents that are like, oh my God, right, just take everything you want. Just shut up. I'll give you more. I'll give you 3 candies instead of 1. I'll give you 5 toys instead of 2, right? Just those types of parents that are succumbing to the wish of a child, and those parents are proven to be weak parents for the rest of education of their child, and the child is gonna come up and dance on your head by the time they're in the teenage years, because the parent is going to be always the weak one that gives up that authority, that control. And then we are the third type of parents, that are the balanced parents, and they know how to deal with it, but you probably never even saw them, right? Because you never saw a parent that sits down and says, okay, let's make a deal. I will give you this if you eat your vegetables every day for a week. And we're just like, I don't want to eat my vegetables every day for a week. I know, but you can only have this candy if you do that. Okay, and with authority and with some kind of deal, okay, the tantrum kid turns up to be normal, said, okay, I'll make the deal. And those are the most balanced parents that can figure it out. The child is depressed at that time, not only just sad, okay, needs to express himself or herself, right? The child wants to do that through a tantrum, and then balancing this up will make the tantrums almost disappear. Okay, but if you see kids throwing tantrums all the time, you're like, these are children depressed. Another sign you can recognize a child by being depressed, and this is the next step in the escalation of their depression, is when a child is turning angry. Okay, now he's not going to dare to turn angry on the parent. He rarely is going to dare to do that, right? He's not going to, hit the parent or anything like that. Rarely this will happen. If this happens, it's just like the last level of I can't take it anymore of that depression. But he will turn angry to other children or turn angry against pets. You guys saw these kids all the time, like fighting with fists at school, right? Even girls, even girls these days, right? They are just so angry, right? And you just can see it inside them. And these are children depressed, very depressed, at a higher level of depression. That when they went through the sadness level that I mentioned, and then went through the irritable sign that I mentioned with tantrums, and then they went to another level now, this anger, okay? So this is very complicated now because it's already settled. This depression is already settled inside the child, right? And they express it only between other kids or pets, or they don't dare to be too much angry at the parents. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're angry at the parents too. So now I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this. Like I promised you at the beginning of the video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get the child out of depression. Okay. So the child, you get him out of depression by showing the parents how to overcome depression themselves. Yes, there are strategic plans and signs of how to overcome depression. And if the parents learn those strategies, they can use it on their children without a face-to-face conversation. You are depressed. No, I'm not. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Okay? Because the child is always going to do that. Is going to just go on the offense, right? Or on the attack against, no, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, right? Because they're just sad deep down inside them and they don't understand why they're sad. But if a parent learns those strategies, how to turn around the kid from being depressed, then the child doesn't need meds, doesn't need therapy, doesn't even need one-on-one conversation with a parent about depression, okay? It just needs that the parent be that emotionally stable parent that sits down and makes a deal. Like the second sign that I mentioned when the child was throwing tantrums, right? So learning these strategies, okay, they're very, very important to turn a child out of depression. And this is how we can, help kids not be suicidal, not be depressed adults, and be emotionally balanced, okay? So it is not any parent's fault that a child is depressed. Please take this out of your head, okay? If you ever had any kind of, you saw any kind of children depressed in your lifetime, Please understand that this is not the parent's fault. Nevertheless, the parents, and even you, if you are a member of a family, by being emotionally balanced, you can actually help that child out of their depression before it escalates into something worse. Okay? So if you guys like these kind of videos, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, okay? If you know any parent or any friend that has seen children depressed like this, make sure you share this video with them. It will really help out the child, right? Haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell below, because I am committed to make daily videos to show people that pain, depression, and suffering is not necessary in their life, and they can change that. And you guys can help me do that. Love you guys.